Okay, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bobsky. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I just put the handout in the chat. Do you all see it?
I saw that a chat came up. Yes. Let's see. I'm going to hide floating meeting controls. Okay. Now, can everyone see the iPhone texting tips and tricks slide? Yeah. Okay. We're good to go.
Yes.
All right. We're going to be talking about texting, and you would think that would be simple, but it's, as always, anything to do with the iPhone. There's more to it than you would expect. So let's get control here. I'm sure I know most of you. I'm part of the Senior Center Tech Connect volunteer group. And in real life, I was a marketing guy for high performance technical computing, high-end computing for, well, they called it supercomputing. I do a lot of writing, and I used to do a lot of programming. So back in the old days, I feel at home at IBM here because I wrote a lot of Fortran and COBOL. And I'm sure these folks will be, the 25-year club that I'm with here will be able to appreciate that. And I grew up with the computers, which is really weird. I grew up in a little town in Wyoming, and for some reason that I need to research this somehow, we ended up with a computer in the mid 1960s. First of all, computers were expensive. They were big. Took a whole room. Had 4 kilobytes of memory. It was amazing. That's what 0.00004 gigabytes of memory. In the middle of Wyoming. So I don't know. Anyway, I fell in love with computers at that age and never looked back. So I always like to have a little session on, this presentation is for you if, obviously, if you have an iPhone and you text, is there anyone that doesn't have an iPhone that's joining us? Elmer? Oh, besides Elmer, of course. All right, cool. Let me, all right. Or if you want to know about what or how you can text, or Elmer, if you're curious why your Android friends don't get your texts or they don't look like you think they should look. So this program's for you. So these are the things we're going to walk through today. What is texting? How does it work? We're going to go through all the many of the settings, not all of them. What can I text? How can I manage texting notifications? And then a lot of things you can do with texts, which is a lot on the new texting app. And then we're going to have a little word of warning at the end. It turns out that the bad guys have found out about texting, and sure enough, they use texting. So as always, I always have a part that what I call the not particularly useful but mildly entertaining section. That'll be the upfront. And then this is the part you have to pay attention to, right? The informative and hopefully useful section. So first of all, let's talk about what texting is and how it works. A little bit of history here. It started out as called SMS, short message messaging service, and it was developed in the 1980s, believe it or not. The latest year I can find data for was 2021. 2 trillion text messages were sent. That's probably 10 trillion by now. Who knows? Then it evolved to MMS, which is multimedia messaging service, allowing you to send images and videos and stuff. Then Apple kind of wrote their own, as Apple's prone to do, and they call it iMessage. Now they've changed the name to just Messages. That was around 2011, and it was exclusively on Apple platforms. So Android, etc., did not have access to the Apple messaging app. Then came along Rich Communication Services. This was introduced by Google on Android, and it's a really comprehensive texting service. Apple finally buckled last year in the latest release, iOS 18. They now support RCS. So we can talk with Android devices with full functionality, full resolution photos, videos, message read acknowledgement, and that sort of thing. So this Apple held out for the longest time for whatever reason, but they finally adopted it. So I always introduce this little bit about why would you text someone when you could call them. I have friends that will not text, Elmer, but will obviously use the phone. One of the reasons to text is because it's kind of asynchronous. In other words, I can send you a text and you can respond at your leisure. If you're in the middle of something, the phone's not ringing, you can just look at it, say, okay, I'll answer it later. But it is immediate. In other words, if I send a text, it goes right now. And that's good if you want to get a hold of someone right away, but you don't want to call them. Of course, it's not as personal as a phone call, but I always like to say sometimes that's a good thing. Elmer should read his text because I'd rather text him than talk to him. So sorry, Elmer. So let's look at some of the features of Apple Messages. One of the things you could do with it, believe it or not, is you can send and receive text messages. Go figure. You can also text images, videos, documents. The cool thing about the Apple environment is I can send and receive text on my other Apple devices, including my MacBook. So I can sit here and use a real keyboard as opposed to my phone to compose a text and send it. And I like that feature. You can get read receipts. I actually have those turned off, so you can't tell whether I read your text or not. But if read receipts is turned on, I will get an acknowledgement that you have read my text. There is end-to-end encryption. So, you hear these people talk about other texting services, and they use them because it's encrypted. Well, Apple Messages is also encrypted, but if I'm sending a message to Elmer on his Android, it is not encrypted. So RCS does not support encryption. You can send things like location data. You can say, hey, I'm here right now. You can send these stickers or emojis, memojis, as Gail uses, and a lot more. I don't know if I have it on here. You can also send cash. So at the end, we're going to have a little tutorial on how you can send me some cash. It's pretty easy. Messages sync using iCloud across all your devices. So if I send a message from my MacBook and then walk away with my phone, that message that was sent is on my phone, and I can get the response on my phone. As long as you're logged in across the iCloud on all of your devices. Okay, so that's kind of the background. That was the entertaining but not overly useful part. Let's talk about settings. And messages settings on the iPhone are really easy. It's that right there. All you have to do is know what all of these things do. Boom, you're done. Seriously, this is from left to right. If you scroll through the messages settings, this is all the settings that are available. We're not going to talk about all of them, but we'll talk about what I think are the important ones. This little note here is, as I walk through this, I have the path, how you got to that setting in the upper right corner in the following slides. So if you're following along, you should be able to, if you get lost, just look up in the upper right corner and it'll show you where we are. So let's launch into all of these settings. Page 1, and you can see here, this is what we're talking about. Now in iOS 17, you have settings messages, but this is iOS 18, and it put another layer in called apps. So under settings, apps, messages is where you will find all of these settings. Oh, I just said that. So the first thing you want to do is look at allow messages to access. So this is a security feature, and these are all of the functions and apps that Message can access. And for example, you would like to have messages access your location. You would like to have Apple messages access Apple Intelligence. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. You'd like to be able to search your messages, that sort of thing. So you probably have a list like this in your settings. It may not be the same as this, but it'll be somewhat similar. All right, page 2, and obviously you want to turn iMessage on. Now, iMessage means that you will send and receive using the Apple iMessage protocols as a preference. In other words, if I'm sending to another person that has an Apple device, it will be sent via iMessage. One of the advantages of iMessage is that it doesn't use cellular data if you're attached to Wi-Fi. SMS, for example, always uses cellular data. So we used to get charged for it, depending on your plan with your provider. Most people now have unlimited messages, but just in case, iMessage goes over Wi-Fi. You can add addresses that you can send and receive messages. So I have my primary phone number here. Most of you already know my phone number, but I blurred it out. Plus, I have some of my email accounts. So I can actually start a message from rpmasson@me.com or rpmasson50@gmail. But I generally, and I always want to start conversations from my cell phone number. So that's what this is down here. I start new conversations from my cell phone number. I could receive messages on these email addresses as well. There's a little toggle here that says you can share your name and photo. And I have that turned off. And I'm not sure why. Basically, if someone's in your address book, they will see your smiling face and your name when you send them a text message, which is generally a good thing. So I don't know. Maybe I just haven't gotten around to turning it on. By the way, in this section, if you do have a question, just unmute and say, "Hey, Bobski," and let's address it right away. So, because this is kind of complicated. It's dry and complicated, but we need to go through it here. Okay. Text messaging is really useful. This is what I was talking about sending and receiving on your Apple device. So I have a Mac Studio, which is a desktop Mac at home, and I have a MacBook Pro, my third one, I guess, which is this device I'm on right now. So whenever a text message comes in on my phone, it can get forwarded to my appropriate Macs. So that's a good thing. Again, I don't have to try to type on my phone. I type very poorly on my phone. I type well on my computer. And the other thing is send as text message. You should turn this on. If you're trying to send a text to someone and they can't receive it with Apple's iMessage for whatever reason, let's say it's an Android, and for whatever reason you can't use RCS, the messaging app will send it as a text message. Now that will take cellular data, and so it says carrier messaging rates may apply. But at least your text will go through, and that's kind of the point of that. The next setting that we want is this RCS messaging. Again, if you don't have iOS 18, you will not see this. This is new with iOS 18, and it allows you to send rich text to Android devices. You can see here, it does use cell service, but you can send all kinds of goody things to an Android. It still appears as a green bubble on your phone. And as I mentioned earlier, if you do send text via RCS, they are not encrypted. I imagine that will change fairly soon, but for right now, it's not encrypted. All right. Another thing about the Apple environment that I'm sure you're all familiar with is Apple loves to sell you iCloud storage, right? One of the ways they can do that is keep your text message history. And I have it set to forever. In other words, ever since I've been sending text messages, they are stored on my iCloud. And in fact, right now, I think I have on the order of 16 gigabytes of messages. So anybody sends me a video or a photograph that's saved in my messaging, and I can get back to it forever. But it does take iCloud space. And if you have any questions about that, see me, because you can actually go in and examine that and see how much storage you're using. You can see here, you can set it up for 30 days and it's a rolling window. Messages over 30 days will be deleted, or a year, which is probably not a bad thing to do for a year. I just happen to have a lot of iCloud space, so I don't particularly care. All right, continuing on in the list of settings here, and if you're following along, you're just scrolling up through the messages settings. This check-in, we're going to talk more about check-in here in a bit. Check-in essentially says, my kids use it, for example, if they come up to visit from Denver, when they're leaving, they check in and check in well, allow me to follow them. It will let me know when they arrive, or it will let me know if they don't arrive for some reason after a reasonable amount of time. So you can change the amount of data that you share with a person when you do this check-in. I have it set at full. I let them know where I am, and basically my progress as I'm going along.
Excuse me, Bobsky.
Yes.
I just updated our phones and I'm going along with you on our settings. And that one on check-in data is not available as we're going through. I see the notify me, and then right after that, it just goes to filter unknown senders. There's no data check-in. Just to let you know.
Let's look at something. Can you all see my phone here?
Yes,
Okay, so I'm going to go.
I also don't have that. Yeah.
What's that?
I also don't have that check-in.
Okay.
Is that something you add?
It may be. Let's address that when you may have to turn that on somewhere else. And I've turned it on so long ago that I've forgotten.
Okay.
So yeah, this is what it looks like for me. And yeah, remind me when we get done to take a look at that. My guess is that there's a setting somewhere else that we have to set. Thanks for letting me know that. Obviously I don't see it on my phone because I turned it on, however you turned it on, a long time ago.
You can probably Google it. Thank you.
Yeah, Google it. And let me know. do the research for us while we're doing this.
There you go.
I put a little star beside this one because filter unknown senders, we're going to talk more about that, but I like to have this on, and what it does is when you're looking at messages, it lets you filter out things like whether I've actually read the message or not, or whether it's from an unknown sender. And that's important for a lot of reasons. One is you can clutter up your messages with all these. For example, two-factor authentication sends you a 6-digit code that appears in your messages. You probably ought to just delete it, but you don't. And pretty soon you got a bunch of those, and there's an easy way to filter those out. So we're going to talk more about that in a minute, but I recommend turning that on. And I assume everyone does have that one. So, all right. Moving on to notifications. I do allow notifications. That means notify me if text arrives, but there's much more to it than that. And we're going to talk a lot more about it. There are different types of notifications. There are what they call critical alerts and time-sensitive notifications. You can get these previews on the lock screen. You can turn it on. Critical alerts is fairly new. It may be new with iOS 18 or 17. Critical alerts are things like weather conditions, for example. The apps that can notify you as a critical alert have to be pre-approved by Apple. So somebody that your Wordle game, for example, can't send you a critical alert. Now, it can maybe send you some other alerts, but it can't send you a critical alert. And time-sensitive notifications are things like calendar entries. For example, if you have set up a notification 15 minutes ahead of an event, that's a time-sensitive notification, and it will be sent to you And it could break through even your do not disturb settings, which I currently have turned on, for example. And finally, you can change notifications by contact. And I really like this, and I don't use it a lot. For example, this is my wife, Connie. You can see the example here. I have the text tone set to default, set to typewriter. She collects old typewriters. And I can change the text tone for just her. So if I get a text and it goes tick, 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 I know that's Connie texting me as opposed to the default text tone. This should probably, I did 3 different snaps here. This should probably say typewriters right here. You can change the ringtone as well, but for texting, you can change the tones. You have to, and to change this, you go to the Contacts app and you change the ringtone. Let's look at that real quickly. Contacts. Oh, why didn't Connie's name show up there? The other Connie. And you can see here for the text tone, I have the sound typewriters and I have emergency bypass on. That means even if I have text blocked by do not disturb, and if you were with us last week, we talked a lot about do not disturb as one of the settings. It will break through do not disturb. So if she texts me, I'm going to get it no matter what. And that's a good thing, generally. All right. And you can see here, that's this little toggle here, emergency bypass.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
How do you put the contacts on your home screen?
So you're talking about this context?
Yes, yes.
That's a different project. You know about jiggle mode?
No.
Come see us. There's a whole, we could spend an afternoon on how to customize your home screen.
Okay.
The quick answer, if you want to fiddle with it, is just long press on some icon on your screen. It will go into what we call jiggle mode, and it will let you drag icons around.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but I don't have it at all. I mean, when I look at my contacts, I have to go to my phone, and then that's when I find my contacts. But I want to put it in your home screen, like what you have here.
Right.
So when I put in my giggle mode, and then where will I find it?
You'll have to find the contacts icon first, and it's probably it's probably over here on some of these other pages somewhere.
Okay, and then I can just put it there. Okay.
And then you can just drag it over there in jiggle mode. Yes.
Okay, I'll do that later. Okay, thank you.
Cool. Yes, you're welcome. All right. Everybody good with all the settings? We need to figure out that whatever setting we were having difficulties with, but we'll do that here in a bit. All right, so let's look at messaging in general. How are we doing on time here? Oh, we got plenty of time. So one of the things that I think is important is to pin your favorites. And you can see, in fact, let's go back over to my phone here, and we're going to click on messages. You can see here, this is the home screen for my messages, and I've got my family here pinned as favorites. So they appear, I can see their mini photo up here and their name, and they're always at the top of the list. So if I scroll up to the top, I will always see them. And to do that, you can, and they have to allow you to see their name and photo when you do that. So you can see here, so you tap on the pin and add them as a pin person. So that's a little convenient thing that I always like to do. All right, spam filtering. I'm sure no one wants to know about spam filtering because you don't get any, right? we talked about in the settings app to turn on filter unknown senders. And when you do that, this little icon or filters icon comes up here on your messages. So again, going back to my phone, you can see right up here, I have filters. And if I tap on that, it allows me to filter the messages that I can see on the home screen. So for example, unknown senders, you can see these are all senders that are not in my address book. And sure enough, there's a lot of, for example, alerts from FlightAware. I should just clean these off. And one of the advantages of this is you can set the filter to unknown senders, and then you can say, I want to select messages, and I don't know if I can do it with, oops. I don't know if I can do it with this setting I have, but you can actually hold down on this and just scroll through all of these guys, and then you can delete them. So what it allows you to do is look at all of these unknown senders at one shot, and you can delete them. And it clears up your list of messages. And you can see here, these are messages from people that are known. In other words, they're in my address book. And then this is all messages. So this is the default. You can see everything, known and unknown. So that's a cool thing to set. So set that message, that setting in the settings, and then you can see here in the Messages app, tap on filters. And I think I just talked about all of this. So unknown senders, we talked about this, and it allows you to just go through and wholesale delete those guys, which is a great thing. You can delete conversations, and we talked about filtering. You hold on the more icon. It's a video. Look at there. Okay. And you can see that's how you can delete messages from unknown senders. Repeat as necessary. And if you actually hold it down, you can sit there and just scroll through them, and it will check them as you scroll. Unsending a text. You probably didn't know you can unsend a text. You've got a couple of minutes to unsend a text. If the recipient hasn't read it, it will probably be deleted and they will not see it, but they can still see it sometimes. But let me see if I got a little, I think I have, there we go. So this is a little recording on how this works. So I send a message that says hello, and then I hold down on it, and I can say undo the send, and you'll see it just goes push and it disappears. So you have the ability to kind of recall a message that you sent. Sometimes that's an advantage, right? Another thing in iOS 18 is a thing called Send Later, which you can tap on this little plus sign right here. And one of the things that comes up, let me switch to my phone and show you, is I'm going to send Daryl a text. I don't know if I can send later with to. I may not be able to send later if it's not an iPhone. I'm going to send it to Connie. And you can see this little plus sign. This little plus sign is used for lots of stuff. We're going to talk about that. So I can select send later, and then you can see this little guy pops up, and I can say, well, hey, send it at 11 a.m. Hi, it's 11 a.m. And is it 11 yet? No, it's not. So it has this little dotted line around it. It says, oh, okay, I will send that later when it's 11 a.m. So that's kind of a cool feature. Another thing you can do is is often when you're exchanging text messages, especially when you're kind of winding the conversation down and you're like, okay, I just want to say, hey, that was great, and get out of there. If you long press on the receive bubble, this little menu pops up here of quick responses, and you can say, yeah, I love it. Yeah, good. Haha. Those of you that know me, I use haha a lot. So that's a really quick way of just, you don't have to type anything. You just hold it down and boom, you can say, yeah, that was great. Okay, here's check-in we were talking about. Let's see what we got here. Again, you tap on the plus, and let's go to my phone. We'll send Connie a message. Connie's here. Are you going to start getting lots of messages from me?
That's fine.
Hang on, I gotta hide the. All right. So I'm going to say check-in, and check-in says, it may or may not work. Oh yeah, there we go. You can say, I want to check in when I arrive or after a certain amount of time. When I arrive, and this happens to be home, it uses maps to figure out what the estimated travel time is, depending on how you're getting there. So if I was going to walk home from here, it'd be in 6 hours and 25 minutes, it would say, hey, you're not home yet, send Connie a message. And this is where we were talking about the check-in data. I send Connie full check-in data. So when I arrive home, because it knows where I am, it will send Connie a text message that says, Bobski has arrived home. You can say, hey, just in an hour, check in. And it will, sure enough, in an hour, it will send a check-in.
Hey, Bobski, where did that plus that you checked on to get to all of this? How did you get there? I'm totally lost.
Okay, totally understand that. It's, all right. So can you see my phone right here?
Yes.
So I'm going to compose a text to Connie, and she's pinned here. We talked about that, right?
All right.
That plus is right next to where you would type the message. So you can see that plus right there.
Oh, okay.
Tap on that.
Gotcha. All right, thank
And
you.
we're going to talk about some of these other things here as well, but one of them is check-in.
Thank you.
While we're here, I'm glad you asked the question. You can also just text a location. You can say, hey, here's where I am right now, and it will send your location. That assumes that you've allowed messages to access your location. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, what else can I do? There's a lot of things we can do. You can obviously send photos and videos. You can dictate. In other words, I can say, hey, if let's say when I'm driving, and I do this quite a bit when I'm driving, I start dictating the text message. You can send audio messages. In other words, I can make a recording and send the recording, and the recipient will get my voice talking to them as opposed to text. There's this thing called Memoji, which I didn't know about until Gail said, hey, I build these Memojis and they're pretty cool. And we can go through that if we have time. We talked about check-in, location. Screen effects is pretty cool. I don't know is this a recording? Yeah. So I can send a message with confetti, for example. Let me go to my, well, what else we got here before we do that? Image Playground. We'll go look through that here in a moment.
I don't.
Real quick, I'm going to put everybody up on my screen. Who all has an iPhone 15 or 16? Raise your hand if you do. Daryl does, Brenda, Connie. So a few folks have 15 and 16. The reason that I mentioned that is there's this whole new thing called Apple Intelligence, which is AI. AI meaning artificial intelligence or Apple Intelligence. And there's a lot of things you can do with it, but you have to have an iPhone 15 or 16. So it's one of those, things Apple does to sell more stuff kind of things. And let's go look at, so what I'm going to do is, whoops.
Hey,
Oh,
Bobsky, it's
yes.
Connie. I think we discovered in a workshop that it has to be an i15 Pro in order to
Yes,
have
it
the
does. Yes, thank you, Connie. You're right. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't have to be an i15 Pro or a 16. Okay, so no eggs, 100. Okay. This is a conversation I had with Connie. So I can say check in. There's a oops. And you can see other apps are allowed to use messages here. Let's see. The way this, oh shoot, the way this works is it looks at what you're typing, and you can say, for example, happy birthday. And it should send, yeah, see, it says, oh, if you're sending a happy birthday, I'm going to send that with balloons. So there's a lot of different messages or formats, not text effects. That's a different thing. So you can see you can do text effects. I'm trying to figure out how you get into this. I've forgotten. Photo stickers and image file. Oh, checking images store.
Bobsky, I know how to do it.
Good. Who's that?
Toby. When you've typed your message, and before you send it, you long press on the up arrow to send.
Got it. There we go. Now I remember.
Yeah.
So these are you can see these little, thank you, Toby. You can see these little dots down here. Those are the pages that you have. Send with spotlight effect, send with balloons, confetti. I like confetti. A big heart. Lasers is always a good one. Fireworks. And it fills your whole screen when you do that, which is kind of cool.
I'm sorry, I didn't get it. How does that work again?
Hold long press on this little
On
blue
the
button.
okay, on the send, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. There you
you
go.
can say there's text effects that is for the bubble. Let's say slam, and it will actually send it with this slam.
Okay.
Sorry, you're getting all these. She turned her messages off. That's probably good. It says it delivered. Let's see, replay. You can see replay, right? So those are, and thanks for reminding me on that. I don't use that very often, so I had forgotten about it. One of the great things that you can do is send cash. So if you guys want to follow along, send a message to Bobsky and just, say, oh, here's $10, Let's see, I don't want to send it to Connie. Let's see. Send it to myself. Yeah. Yeah, I probably could do that.
Excuse me,
Go ahead.
on the Apple Cash, when you do that, does it get charged to your charge card through Apple?
Yes,
I
it
think
uses
so, yeah.
it uses Apple Pay. So obviously you have to have a method of payment, and you would have, in my case, I have a debit card attached to my Apple Pay, and so it takes it right out of my checking account.
So you could do it with a checking account, a debit card, or a charge card too?
Yes, you could use a charge card. I don't even think we talked about that in settings, how you set up Apple Pay. That's another whole topic, right? Let's briefly look at Image Playground. Now, again, this is a 15 Pro or a 16. And first of all, you can take a person, and let's take Connie, for example, and it takes her photograph out of my photograph. So it knows who Connie is. Now, I haven't given it anything else but it's created a couple of examples based on just her photograph. But I can say, oh, add a potted plant to this. So you can see now I've got Connie's photo and I've got potted plant, and it's using that to create images. And they actually look quite a lot like Connie. Let's see, I can add disco, and I'm going to take back the potted plant. And this is called Image Playground, and this is part of Apple Intelligence. And I'm thinking later on this year, sometime, we're going to do a session on Apple Intelligence. But again, the requirements of having a brand new phone to do that eliminates a lot of us from that. I just happen to have an iPhone 15, but I didn't know anything about Apple Intelligence. Let's see, what else do we want to know about? Oh, Memojis, Dropbox, Diddled. Stickers is kind of cool. You can say, oh, and I've made these stickers using my, what do you call it? My face, my icon. And you can, oh, this is kind of cool. You can say, let's see. Some of these actually will look at your face and model it after your face. Let's try that again. Images are images that you might like to just throw in there. You know, like you can say, oh yeah, well, here's my Shrek image. So let's see if I can delete that. Yeah. I don't know if I can delete it. There we go. There, I can delete it. So those are some other things that you can do that you can send in text messages. Do you have any other questions about any of these other things that we're sitting here fiddling with? We talked about cache. Photos. Obviously, Photos accesses my photos library and all 44,000 photos that I have. So you can obviously send a photo. That's probably the majority of things that you would use. What else have we got here? We talked about location, sending cache. Right.
Actually, I have a question on dictation. How did you do that again? Because one time I did that on my phone by accident. I couldn't turn it off. That dictation that you had. Your phone is right now on dictation, right?
It's not
the image that you have on that right side on the iMessage. It looks like it's an audio. Oh, that's an audio message.
This is
turn it on?
This will send an audio message. So if I hold on this, I will actually send what I'm saying, and Connie will be able to hear it. It doesn't look like yet. My microphone's probably in use, so it won't allow me to do this right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just turned it on the plus side, and then what thing? Oh, the audio. And then to turn it off, just how do you turn it off? How do you go back to the normal?
I have forgotten how to do dictation. And the problem is I'm using this utility that shows my phone on the screen, and it doesn't have all the functionality that I would have if I was just using my phone. So I may not be able to show you that.
But right now you're on dictation, right? On audio. How do you go back to make that a microphone? Because normally it's a microphone, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't think I have that functionality with this utility that I'm using.
Okay.
We'll be done here shortly. We can try a different way of looking at my phone and see if we
Okay.
have that.
Okay.
Yeah, so remind me of that when we get going here.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Keep
sure.
in mind too, Bobsky, that when you do audio messages, they expire after 2 minutes, so they're not kept in your history at all.
Good point.
And I've played with it too, and all you do is a hard press on the on that little dictation part there, and you have to hold it down while you're talking.
Yeah, I see. I can't do it with this app that I'm using right
Yeah.
now. And plus oh yeah, I think that's the problem is that I'm using this app. So I'm not actually, my phone's next to me, but it's connected to my computer, and I think it's taken over the microphone. We'll fiddle with that when we get done here.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Alaya. We'll fiddle with that here in a second. All right, hang on a second. All right. Send cache, we talked about that. So with iOS 17, which was in October of 2023, they allowed you to send emergency text messages via satellite. Now, I'm from Wyoming, and I often go out into the desert in the middle of Wyoming, and there's no cell service for a zillion miles, right? So I was reassured that I could send text message on SOS. Well, in iOS 18, they've changed that, and you can send non-emergency messages. So all you have to do is use the satellite texting, and it will find a satellite and it will send a text, even if you don't have cell service, which is pretty cool. Apple's actually got into a business agreement with a company that does these satellite phone stuff, and so they've decided, at least for right now, to make that free of charge if you happen to be out of cell service. So that's a cool feature. Oh, okay, here's Apple Intelligence, and we talked about that. Let's see. Apple Intelligence does a lot of things. One of the things we didn't look at was what they call writing tools. Let's see. And I should be able to. Let's see if writing tools is here. No, I haven't fiddled with this much, obviously. So there we go, writing tools. So writing tools uses AI to help you create, you can create text messages, you can have it summarize text messages, you can have it rewrite it for you. So, you know, I can say, write a 2-line poem that says, I love you. And let's see what it does. I haven't tried this, so stand back. It says, oh, it wants to use ChatGPT to do that. So let's see what it comes up with. It's thinking. So you can see this is what it came up with. In the whisper of the dawn's first hue, my heart beats out, I love you. You know, it's kind of corny, but AI created that. And there's a zillion other things you can do with that. So let's see if we can.
Do you have to have a account to be able to use GPT account with that feature? Do you know?
You don't, actually, I don't know for sure. I think you don't have to have an account though, but it's subject to the limitations of using ChatGPT without an account as usual, which means you only get so many requests in a day and you're low on the priority list, that kind of thing. That's an excellent question. I think it will still do it though, subject to all the other constraints of not having a ChatGPT account. Oh, it just sent. No, it's still not sent this yet. Did that answer your question? Is that Alaya?
Yeah.
Or your...
Yeah, that's very interesting. You have to have a 16 to be able to do that, right?
Right. So you have Apple Intelligence. So I wanted to add one more thing not delivered. If you've seen this, you can, there's several reasons why you might get not delivered. You might not have cell service and you're trying to send an SMS message, and that will cause it to not be delivered. If SMS is turned off in the settings and you're not connected to Wi-Fi, you'll get this message. Or if you have your phone on airplane mode, you'll see this message. So if you do see that message, just check these things here. Blue versus green. This is always entertaining. Whoops, where are we at? Blue means you're talking to another Apple person. In other words, they've got an Apple device and they're using iMessage and it gets sent as blue. Green means you're not talking to an Apple person. You're talking to, and probably talking to an Android. And even if you were sending it RCS, it still gets shown as a green bubble. So that's what that green versus blue means. All right, finally, a word of warning. There's this thing called smishing. Smishing is short for SMS phishing. And scammers are starting to use cell phones or attack our cell phones a lot more. And you've probably seen these. Your parcel was returned, it's not delivered, blah. And notice they even spoof where this came from. So it's kind of tricky. You don't click on this link. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Don't have, if they say, hey, call to free your package up, or rescue your kid from the Mexican jail or whatever, don't call that number. It's fake. And as you probably know, there's a new one. In fact, I just ran across this. And what's funny is I posted on our Facebook account. And if you don't follow us on Facebook, go to, what is it, Daryl? The
digital neighborhood.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. So we post things like this along with jokes, if you like, digital jokes. But I ran across this. So your phone has a security feature built in that if you get a message that contains some kind of link, like this link here that looks legit, USPS.com - whatever that is .top. If you can't click on this because it's from an unknown sender. But what the scammers have started doing is they put a little text down at the bottom that says reply, and then reread the message and click on the link. And the reason is that this this security feature of disabling links gets overridden when you reply to this text message. What they're saying is, oh, you seem to know this person, so now we will enable these text messages we will enable these links in these text messages. So don't reply to this. See where it says, please reply why? Don't do that. Okay, so don't respond to them. So don't reply. All right, that's it. We got done in an hour. What is it we were going to look at real quick? Let me see if I can change the way I'm displaying my phone. I'm going to quit mirroring. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. All right. And I am going to share my screen. Let's hide this. And then I'm going to share I'm going to do screen mirroring. There we go. All right, somebody remind me what we were looking at. Oh, we were talking about dictation. Yeah, so now you can see.
We can't see what you're talking about.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Blank.
Huh. I thought I shared my screen.
We just see your slide questions.
Yeah.
Oops, I don't want to do that.
When you share, isn't iPhone one of your choices?
Yeah, I thought I shared my screen. Oh no, I shared PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Try it again. Put these other things. All right, now can you see the questions thing?
Yeah.
All right. Hang tight. You're getting all this experimental stuff here. Now can you see iMessage?
Yes.
There you go.
Sweet. Now notice, so now I've got the microphone here.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So now I want to send a text message by talking to my phone. Right? So that's what that little guy does there. That's dictation. I think that was one of the questions.
So did you dictate that or did you type it?
I talked that.
You talked it. So how did you do that? You just
I
went to
tapped
the plus sign?
Tapped on this microphone right here.
Oh, you have to tap on it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And now you can see it's listening to me and transcribing what I'm saying.
Okay. And then you just hit send. Okay.
Yep. Says
But-
it's
Bobsky,
yes.
but what about talking into it in your own voice and sending your own voice?
Sending the did I
Sending the
say-
message in your voice.
That's called sending an audio message. Hang on, I need to do this again. Oh, there we go. Can you see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in this case, if I tap over here on the plus sign,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things is audio. So now I'm going to send an audio file that the person can hear me talking.
Right.
See if I can play it back. Oh, I can't click. So now I'm going to send an audio file that the person can hear me talking.
Oh, cool. And how did you
Yes.
stop?
Go ahead.
How did you stop it?
I tapped on, okay, we're going to do it again. So I tap on the plus sign.
Right.
I tap on audio. And now I'm recording. And see this little stop button over here? I tap on the stop button.
You know, what's interesting is what's happened in the past, but it may have
And
been
now I'm recording. And see this little stop button over?
right.
Okay, go ahead.
That I would have sent a text and not a recording, just a text, close my phone and open it maybe an hour or two later or whatever. And it's been recording from the time I closed my phone.
I've done that as well. Yep. And it'll eventually fill your phone up.
How did that happen?
Let's see. How do I get out of this? There we go. Where are we? All right. Was there anything else we would?
How are
Yes.
you all listed on Facebook?
Sorry, Mary, I didn't understand that.
How are you listed on Facebook? You all have a Facebook account?
We do. And if you're not reading it, you should be, because we have some of the greatest digital jokes ever.
Search for Digital Neighborhood.
Okay. Thank you.
You want You want me to
And
show?
also, all of our email news stuff. Well, no, that's not true anymore. Never mind. I retract. I used to have a link in my signature. Um, but you'll have to ask to join and then I'll approve you joining. So just search for Digital Neighborhood.
Thank you.
Um, well, we can do that. Digital neighbor. There you go. SCT Digital Neighborhood.
Okay, great.
Okay. Cool. Stop share. Anything else? That we went through this pretty quickly. It's a lot of stuff, but
What does that digital neighborhood do?
it's a Facebook page.
It's a Facebook group.
Okay, and then what do you do? What will that help you?
Well, we post different things like technical tips, and like Bobsky says, we post technical humor related things.
Oh, from you guys, from you.
Yeah, and
Okay,
you
thank
you
you.
can ask
Yeah.
questions there and
So you
post.
have to go to Facebook to do that.
You have to be a Facebook member, unfortunately. That
Yes, I am. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And one of the other things is we try to when a new scam comes along, we try to put some information out there about that new scam. So we try to keep up to date on scams.
Okay.
So
and as we probably mentioned earlier, we have a YouTube channel where we're posting a lot of these type of events, and that's linked from our website homepage.
Okay. So you
Which
can
is-
just join the digital neighborhood and then that's it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, if you go to, is it SCTC Longmont?
Yeah, I just got that. I'm just on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the homepage.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right. Well, anybody
Bobsky, question, Bobsky.
Yeah.
On the forwarding feature, can you forward to the Apple iWatch?
Forward texts. Oh, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, we can look on my wife's settings. I'm still having notification issues for text messages on her phone.
Oh no.
Yeah, they work and then later in the day she says, well, they're not working again. Nothing has changed. So
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I was trying to look and see if there was a.
she gets the alert on her watch. That's okay. We can research it offline.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. Do I get text messages on my phone? I'm sure I do. So yeah, let's
I
look
do
at.
too, but I don't know how I did it. Do you have a segment for iWatch someday?
We do. Is Miss SJ on?
No, she had to leave.
Do you have the Go catalog?
Okay, and then I can just find it there. Okay.
If it's not, I think we have one coming up sometime
What-
between April.
And if we've had a previous class, it might be likely that we have on our website, at the top of the website, there's different tabs, and
Okay.
Apple's one of the tabs, and we post previous class material handouts usually on within that page.
Okay.
February 19th.
19.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
thank
will
you.
be online.
Online also. Okay.
February 19th, yeah. And
By the way, I just joined that SCTC digital neighborhood. It says pending. Does that mean you
Yeah,
need?
I admin that, so I have to go into it and prove you're joining.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, we have a lot of people wanting to misuse things, so I have to have at least one or two questions there that people answer.
Oh, Did it have a question? I think
Well, it said, do you want to advertise a business? We
oh
don't
yeah, I
know.
did, and I didn't answer it. So
Well, okay, I'll try and remember what's your last name, Brenda?
Dagaport, D as in David, Ageforde. Sorry, I didn't answer.
Well, yeah, we have a lot of people trying to, there must be a huge opportunity in cleaning air vents.
Okay. All right. And if it's still pending, and then I will
No,
get.
I'll see it later.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
So
you,
will you-
Daryl. Yeah.
Will you say the way you do the info SCTC? How do you do that?
What do you mean exactly?
How do you join it? That's
It's-
not,
Go
It's
to
that's,
just a
Facebook.
website.
The Facebook group, are you talking about the
whatever.
Facebook?
She was talking about Facebook, right?
Yes.
And that's Digital Neighborhood. But to do the YouTube, how do you do that? Just go to YouTube and
Just on the home page on our website, just click on the icon for the YouTube
okay.
and it'll take you to our channel.
Okay.
Did anyone not receive the handout that wants it?
I didn't, Bobsky.
You're welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
I can save that handout on my file, right? I think I can. Yeah, I did. I just did. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
I don't think I saw it, Bobsky.
It's on the chat.
It's in the chat, yeah.
Oh, I didn't look.
Or we
She's on her iPad. I think we should
Right.
probably mail it to her.
That would be helpful.
I'd like it too, Mary.
Mary, I can email it to you.
Thank you.
And
Yep.
Toby, do we have your email address?
We sure do.
I would like it as well.
Okay.
Oh,
got it.
no, you just exceeded my capabilities of remembering everyone, so. Hang on.
Okay.
Although I do see it in the chat.
I can't load it down from this chat. It won't let me.
Well, friends, that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed this video today. Hey, before you go, if you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to know when the latest SCTC video comes out, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. And if you have any ideas or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to leave a comment below. We'll see you next time.